Queen Victoria's favourite child, the unbreakable bond between Vicky and her mum, aka How to Be Brilliant and Still Get Shipped Off to Prussia. Welcome back to Past People, where the royals are dramatic, the stakes are imperial, and the letters are so passive-aggressive they need their own diplomatic pouch. Today, we're talking about Empress Victoria of Germany, known to her friends as Vicky, to her enemies as too British, and to her mother as my precious darling angel girl with the brain of 1,000 men. Vicky was Queen Victoria's eldest daughter, a glittering prodigy, political idealist, and a woman tragically ahead of her time. She also had the misfortune of being born into two of the most dysfunctional royal courts in Europe. But don't worry, she had a lot to say about it, especially in her 8,000 surviving letters to her mum. So grab your crown, your correspondence paper, and a Prussian military helmet you'll never emotionally connect with, because this is the gloriously tragic, infuriating, and fiercely funny tale of Empress Victoria. Vicky, the Child Genius. Our story begins in 1840. Vicky is born in the same room Queen Victoria herself was born in. The royal uterus is now officially open for business. From the start, Vicky is not your average royal baby. While most royal toddlers are busy chewing on furniture and refusing to share the crown jewels with their siblings, Vicky is reading. By age 3, she's writing letters. By age 5, she's fluent in French and German. By age 9, she's having full-on political debates with her tutors about British reform policy. Queen Victoria, obsessed. Albert, beaming. Everyone else, a little bit terrified. Victoria and Albert saw Vicky as the perfect fusion of their ideals. Intelligent, morally upright, German enough to pronounce Schleswig-Holstein without crying, and British enough to lecture you about parliamentary democracy over breakfast. But there's one catch. She's a girl, which means she's not going to inherit the throne. So what do you do with a surplus of female brilliance in the 19th century? That's right, you marry it off. Enter Prince Frederick Wilhelm of Prussia, or Fritz, if you're feeling affectionate and or politically desperate. Fritz is kind, thoughtful, liberal, and deeply handsome. An absolute unicorn in the Prussian army barracks. Vicky meets him when she's 10 and he's 19, which is deeply creepy in literally any century. But everyone politely ignores that, because royal matchmaking waits for no age of consent. Fast forward a few years, and teenage Vicky is married off to Fritz at the tender age of 17. Whisked away to Berlin with her trousseau, her political ideals, and her Victorian sense of purpose. Queen Victoria, devastated. The letters start flying. She writes to Vicky every day. She asks what she's eating, what she's wearing, what the Prussians are saying, and reminds her that no one will ever love her as much as her mummy does. No pressure. Vicky responds with long, emotionally detailed essays that read like political briefings meet therapy sessions, and honestly, same. A British bird in a Prussian cage. So how does Vicky get on in Berlin? Oh, honey. She is a liberal, educated woman with opinions, which goes down in Prussia like a vegan sausage at a military banquet. The Prussian court is cold, conservative, and deeply suspicious of anything British. The royal family? Not fans. The public? Think she's bossy. Her mother-in-law? A walking, talking thundercloud in a tiara. Vicky wants education reform, they want soldiers. Vicky wants hospitals, they want bayonets. Vicky wants intellectual debate. They want her to stop talking and start producing heirs. And when she does produce an heir, oh boy. The kid with the dead arm and the daddy issues. In 1859, Vicky gives birth to a son, Wilhelm. Yes, that Wilhelm, as in Kaiser Wilhelm II, the future German emperor who will eventually start World War I like it's a group project he didn't study for. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Wilhelm is born breech, and thanks to some truly medieval medical handling, he ends up with a permanently disabled arm. Vicky is devastated, not just for his health, but because she knows how ruthless the Prussian court is. And guess what? She's right. She's blamed for it, vilified, accused of improper handling, of being too British, too soft, too emotional. And Wilhelm? Raised by cold nurses and later an even colder grandmother. As Wilhelm grows up, he becomes obsessed with power, militarism, and hating his mother with the fiery intensity of 1,000 Prussian sons. He mocks her accent, he rejects her values, he ignores her advice, he literally tears up her letters. Queen Victoria, still writing like a 19th century WhatsApp group, is furious. She keeps trying to get Vicky to come home, but Vicky stays, partly out of love for Fritz, and partly out of that deep Victorian sense of duty that just will not quit. In 1888, Fritz becomes Emperor Frederick III. He and Vicky have waited forever for this moment. Finally, the liberal royals have their shot. And then cancer. Throat cancer. Fritz rules for 99 days. He can barely speak. Vicky, heartbroken, writes her usual torrents of letters to her mum. She is now empress, and also a widow. And Prussia? About to get worse. Because next on the throne is Wilhelm, and he wastes no time pushing his mother out of court, out of power, and eventually out of sight. Letters, loss, and legacy. Vicky spends her final years in exile at Kronborg Castle, surrounded by books, memories, and the constant drip feed of royal disappointment. She watches her son dismantle everything she stood for. She watches Britain and Germany edge closer to war. She watches her name disappear from the history books and her influence erased from the court. But the letters survive. Over 8,000 letters between Vicky and Queen Victoria still exist. They are funny, furious, intellectual, gossipy, tearful, hopeful, and devastating. They show us a mother and daughter separated by politics, but bound by love. Two women navigating a world that didn't want them to lead, but couldn't stop them from trying. So, was Vicky really Queen Victoria's favourite child? Yes, without a doubt. She was the most like her, the most brilliant, the most emotionally available, the most frustrating, and she was the one Queen Victoria couldn't save. But she never stopped trying. And for that, Vicky earned her crown here at Past People, a woman who deserved so much more than 99 days. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to write home, question the monarchy, and never let a German court tell you you're too clever. Until next time, stay crowned, stay Past People.